Hello everyone, my name is Ladin Zeli, MBS second semester, Mizoram University, Aizawl. In this video, I'll be discussing about monetary policy and its instrument. Monetary policy. Monetary policy refers to the credit control measure adopted by the Central Bank of a country. In case of Indian economy, Reserve Bank of India is the sole monetary authority which decides the supply of money in the economy. Monetary policy is that policy through which the Central Bank of the country, Reserve Bank of India, control number 1, the supply of credit, number 2, availability of credit, and number 3, the cost of credit or the rate of interest. In order to attain a set of objectives revolving around the growth and stability of the economy. Monetary policy refers to the money supply or credit supply policy of the government to control the flow of purchasing power in the economy so that the inflationary and deflationary pressure are controlled. Instruments of monetary policy. Following are the principal instruments or components of monetary policy or credit control of the Central Bank of a country. Number 1, quantitative instrument and qualitative instrument. Quantitative instrument. Quantitative, general or indirect, cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio. Repo rate. Repo rate, also called policy rate or bank rate policy, is the rate of interest at which Central Bank, Reserve Bank of India in India, offers short period loans to commercial banks. Rise in repo rate is often followed by a rise in the market rate of interest, while a fall in repo rate leads to a fall in the market rate of interest. When repo rate is raised, there is a contraction of credit, leading to a fall in aggregate demand and hence a fall in the general price level. It tends to moderate inflationary pressures in the economy. On the other hand, when repo rate is lower, the market rate is also lower, leading to expansions of credit as well as expansions of aggregate demand. It tends to break the cycles of economic slowdown. Number 2, open market operation. When the Central Bank of a country buys or sells security in the open market, it is called open market operation. If the market is to be contracted, the Central Bank begins to sell security in the open market. On the contrary, if the Central Bank wants to expand credit, it begins to buy security in the open market. In the events of inflation, central banks sell security in the open market. As a result of it, credit is contracted, aggregate demand goes down, and price tends to fall. On the contrary, during depression, the central bank buys security, as a result of which credit expands, aggregate demand increases, and price tends to rise. Number 3, cash reserve ratio. It refers to cash reserve of the commercial bank with central bank as a person. Commercial banks are required to maintain minimum cash reserve ratio as fixed by the central bank from time to time. If the central bank wants to contract credit, it raises the cash reserve ratio. As a result, banks have to keep a larger percentage of their deposit in terms of cash with central bank. It reduces their cash reserve. Lower cash reserve reduces credit creation capacity of the commercial bank. On the other hand, when the central bank wants to expand credit, it lowers the cash reserve ratio. This leaves the bank with larger cash reserve to create credit. Number 4, statutory liquidity ratio. It refers to the ratio between liquid asset and total asset of the commercial bank. The commercial banks are required to maintain minimum statutory liquidity ratio as fixed by the central bank from time to time. Every bank is required to keep a given proportion of its total asset in the forms of liquid or near liquid asset. It is called liquidity ratio. When the central bank is to contract credit, it raises the statutory liquidity ratio. On the contrary, when the central bank is to expand credit, it lowers the statutory liquidity ratio. Qualitative instrument. Qualitative, selective or direct change in the margin money, direct action and moralization. Quantitative instruments of monetary policy aim at controlling the flow of credit across all business activity in the economy. Qualitative instruments, on the other hand, aim at controlling the flow of credit for certain specific or selective activity in the system. These are as under: number 1, change in margin money; number 2, rationings of credit; number 3, direct action. Change in margin money. The result is that borrowers are given less money in loans against specified security. For instance, raising the margin requirement to 70% means that the pledger of the security of the value of 10,000 rupees will be given 30% of their value, that is 3,000 rupees, as a loan. In case of recession in a particular sector, the central bank encourages borrowing by lowering margin requirement. Number 2, rationing of credit. Rationing of credit refers to fixations of credit quotas for different business activities. It is introduced when the flow of credit is to be checked, particularly for speculative activities in the economy. The central bank fixes credit quota for different business activity. The commercial bank cannot exceed the quota limit while granting loan. Number 3, direct action. The central bank may initiate direct action against the member banks in case these do not comply with its directive. It includes the recognition of commercial banks as members of the country banking system. Number 4, moralization. Sometimes the central make the member banks agree through persuasion or pressure to follow its directive on the flow of credit. The member banks generally do not ignore the advice of the central bank. The banks are advised to restrict the flow of credit during inflation and liberal in lending during deflation. These both methods affect the levels of aggregate demand through the supply of money, cost of money, and availability of credit of the two types of instruments. The first category includes bank rate variation, open market operation, and changing reserve requirement, cash reserve ratio, and statutory reserve ratio. Thank you.